The engine makes a pretty good footrest. Let's see what's going on inside of her. Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering Adventures. We got this engine out of this R6, it's making some noise. As usual, I will do my best to put some links up here for you. Take a peek at what we've been doing on this thing already. But engine is out, and there you go, it's right behind me. And I don't know what route we're going to take with this project, but this engine is deciding to part some metal off and make some noises, so we might as well take it apart. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be repairable or, worth repairing, but at the very least, satisfy our curiosity. What was making all that noise in there? And maybe it might be something simple. I'm trying to remain optimistic at this point. The project is going a little bit sideways, but that does happen. And you can't get too discouraged. Sometimes you end up buying a project thinking that you're going to come out ahead, and you don't even come out even. Sometimes you could have bought a better running vehicle for less. I suppose a house could be the same. You buy a house project and get in over your head on it. Any kind of project is like that, but the fun of it sometimes is finding that jewel in the rough, and maybe this one isn't it. We'll find out. So let's start taking a look at what we need to do to get this thing apart. Okay, looking at this thing, I want to try to split it here. And that means that the clutch cover is going to have to come off. I don't know about the water pump, but it's probably going to just come off anyway. This cover is going to have to come off. The timing chain tensioner is going to have to come off. And whatever I'm going to have to do to get the timing chain off the lower sprocket down here. The stator cover is going to have to come off, and we may or may not have to pull the flywheel under there, and I'll have to see if I have a flywheel puller tool for that. Oil pan is going to come back off. We already did that once. And then start removing these screws, bolts on the bottom half, and I'm hoping that that's all I'm going to have to do. There might be some hidden out up here. We'll have to take a look. But that's where we're going to start. So when I come back, all these covers will be off, and we'll see where we're at. Kind of change the orientation here so we're upside down. There's the stator cover. Don't know yet if I'm going to have to remove this. Sometimes you can get away without it. Oil pan is off. This timing cover is off. I should have removed that before I flipped it, but I'll have to remove the timing chain tensioner. And it looks like I can probably loosen this, and maybe that'll slide off of there. We'll see. The clutch is going to have to come off. I have a video on that. So either check in my library, or if I remember to put a link on here, I'll put the clutch link here, but this is all going to come off. And there you go. See that? I'm trying to get some of that coppery goodness out of there. There's a lot of it in there. You can see it. And this is actually cleaned up. Before I put this back together the other day, I flushed this out with a little bit of gas just to see. There you go. See that copper bit there? That's or brass or bronze or whatever it is. That's a bearing somewhere in here. And now that we have this off of the bike, I can see a little bit better. I can see the rod bearings in the bottom, but you just can't get very good access to them. It's just odd, though, the way this thing made the noise, and then it didn't, and then it made the noise, and it didn't. So anyway, we are going to move forward. All this came apart really nicely because everything was socket heads like this, so everything came apart very easy with the old Ryobi impact driver. So clutch next, and then the timing chain, like I said, I'll do all that. We'll come back, and then we'll start looking at these bolts. Sort of looks like a tool explosion around here, but here we are. The clutch is off and in that plastic box there. I don't know if I'm going to have to pull this timing chain after all. So we're just going to leave that for now. If we have to take it off, we'll figure that out. I see there's this plate here behind the clutch that circles both halves. So that's going to have to come off, and that's a Torx bit in there. And you can, I don't know how well you can see it, but they're peened. So hopefully those come out. Sometimes that can be a real bastage. And I think once I get that off, then we're going to start removing these bolts. There's a bunch of them around the outside here, 3 there. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 1 under the filter, 1 there, a couple there. There's 2 of them sunk into there, or just 1 maybe, just 1. And then inside of here, we get these. These are probably for your main bearings, I'm guessing. That's what it looks like. And maybe that one down there. And I don't know if this oil pump has to come out, but we'll find out. I'm gonna start removing those after I get this plate off, and we'll take a peek what we got. Well, I guess we'll see if we know what the heck I'm doing here. Well, we've already kind of proven that I don't, but I got all the bolts that I noticed out. I had to take off this oil cooler, which I think that's what that is. The coolant goes through there. And to take off the oil filter. This bolt you can't get off unless you remove that oil filter adapter. I'm not worried about it. And this bolt I can't get out all the way unless I remove this oil pump. So we'll see if this is going to move now. Like I said, I don't know if I have to remove that flywheel. Let's set you in the stand here, and we'll give it a little old tappy-tap-a-roo. Nothing yet, nothing yet. And the chances are she's sealed on there pretty well anyway, so might just take a little bit of tapping. Well, let me get abusive on it, and we'll come back and see if I get her loosened up or if I find something else that I missed. Now, I've said it before, if you're hammering on something that's supposed to be loose and it's not moving, you have 2 options. You can either keep hammering on it or you can take another look. So before I started going too crazy on the hammer, I took a look, and underneath this oil pump was another bolt. And then I removed that one as well. And when you take that oil pump out, you got to be careful because there's 2 little sleeves here, and one of them fell into the engine. But I do believe we're going to be moving now. Let's go back to round 2 here. On this side for sure. So that tells me maybe there's still something holding this other end in. This side's moving. I have a gap already. This side's not moving as much. And I see a, let me show you. I see this, it looks like it might go up from this end maybe. So I'm gonna flip it up and see if there's a bolt or 2. There might be one there somewhere. Let's see. I don't see one, but we'll have to flip it over because we're definitely getting a gap over here, but it's hanging up on this end. So we'll take a peek. Easy day. It was right there. This one here. And now you can see, oh, there we go. We're already loose. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. We've got a main bearing going bad. Interesting. Interesting. That's what's causing all of our trouble here. And I wonder why it's I wonder why it's intermittent sounding like that. It doesn't look like it's tore up too bad, but we'd have to mic all these out to find out. So at this point, we could determine if we want to ooh, I dropped a washer. I think I heard it go in there. That ain't good. But at this point, we could determine if we want to look at what a crankshaft costs, or just whatever direction we want to go with this thing. Clutch, oil pan, clutch cover, stator cover, timing cover. There's my little drawing, so hopefully I can figure out how to put these back together. And our engine. So yeah, I have some thinking to do now. The rest of the bearings don't look bad. I haven't measured anything, but they don't look terrible. And this one didn't spin, and it doesn't have any ridges on it. It feels pretty close to these, but I'll have to get it mic'd and then decide what I want to do. I can look to see about buying a used crankshaft, a new crankshaft, or just getting rid of this engine. So a lot of things to think about, decide. Honestly, it's not as bad as I figured it could have been. I knew there had to have been some bearing material somewhere, so only seeing one bearing going out doesn't bother me as much as seeing all of them getting chewed up. So I guess we'll see. Perhaps there's oversized bearings available. You would get this machine down, maybe a half of a thousandth of an inch or 2/1000ths of an inch, and then these bearings would be that much bigger. So that's what you possibly could do, and I don't know. Also, looking at this whole side of this here looks pretty hot as well, so I might want to pull that cap off. Maybe that rod bearing is bad now that I'm looking at everything. Of course, all that heat could just be from that as well, but I'll probably pop that one off and take a peek. But we'll think about it. Yeah, all these actually look kind of hot, but maybe that's just the way those are. I don't know. We'll pull those off and take a look at a later date, because I think we got enough for today. I'm kind of overheating in my garage myself here, and my back is tired. Pulled the motor earlier today, and I've been working on this thing for a little bit. But we'll see what we got. If you're digging what I'm putting out, give me that thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and if you're not already, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. It's nice to see all of my subscribers, people watching my videos, and thanking me for what I do, and hopefully I'm helping you out on something. At least I'm amusing you, at the very least. And I think it's about beer 30 for me. Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.